Welcome to Around the Block with GoodBlock. Today we are celebrating Telosversary. I'm C. Walters, GoodBlock's head of product. We've got Douglas Horn with his douche cup, and Erika. Oh, there for real. And there's we've also got Erika Elder, our COO. So cheers to Telos. Just a little
happy birthday!
Happy Telosversary!
Happy birthday! This is number 4.
4 years.
Right?
Number 4.
Can you
4
guys believe
years.
it's been 4 years?
We're
Feels like
I
10.
can.
Yeah, I know.
And also only a minute.
Yeah, all at the same time.
I marked the Telosversary as also the 4-year mark of when I moved in with my boyfriend, who's now my husband.
Those were not unrelated, right?
No, they were not unrelated. Very, very related.
Yeah, CJ, that's awesome. Tell us that, because that's kind of about the Telos launch too.
It is. And it actually involves you, Douglas. Whoops, I'm hitting the microphone. So
Everything does.
Right. It's all about you.
As far as I'm concerned.
It's all about you. So let's see. Way back before Telos launched, I was a freelance marketer in the Antelope, previously known as EOS.io ecosystem.
Something else.
And I went, I heard about this company called GoodBlock, and actually had really become friendly with Beth and a little bit with Douglas, and they invited me to come up to Seattle, so I did. And while I was up there, I was staying with a friend of mine who for whatever reasons was on Tinder, and she said she was just having a grand old time swiping left and right and all that stuff. And I was like, hey, I want to do that. And so I signed up, but it was like making me search in Seattle. I don't live there. So I was like, I'm going to pay $20 so I can search in other places. So I did. And this was after I had gone and spent the day at GoodBlock and loved what I saw, loved what I was seeing.
Well,
and
we were going to hire you.
I know, but then I had to move.
That was a done deal.
Then
That
I had
was
to move
that was
Seattle.
not an interview. It was not an interview. That was a
Your intake day.
Yeah. Orientation practically.
Yeah, they brought out the drinks. I was hanging out with Beth all day. It was really awesome. And then and I got to see all of the team. Like back then there was a big team working on Telos.
We had almost 20 people, including contractors at GoodBlock at that time.
Yeah, I remember. Anyway, through that whole situation, I ended up connecting with Norm, my who we had our first date like a week later, and actually he lived down here where I live in Oregon, and the next thing I know, I'm like staying over, and I was like, hey, Beth, do I live here if I've been sleeping here for like 30 days? And Beth's like, I think so.
Beth knows everything. You and Leah had done so much for building Telos up, and there was no plan in the works for anything. It was just going to stop. Like people kind of stopped getting paid for everything, right? The calculations were done and you weren't going to get any more. So some people kept going, but a lot of people said, well, I've got what I got. But I really desperately wanted you and Leah to stay on because you were killing it. And I was really worried about how things would, would fall off. And so I was like, you do it. And if Telos doesn't hire you, GoodBlock will hire you and make sure that you have funds. And you kept doing it for a while, but then something else came up during that time for you, right?
Yeah, actually, I had a couple other offers and a couple things that happened, and I ended up working for some different Antelope organizations.
Oh, you can say it. it makes it sound like our offer wasn't actually that good.
No, it was a great offer. It was a great offer.
She was
you got pulled away by, you got an offer you couldn't refuse, sort of, right?
Yeah, I did. I was working for the EOS Foundation, or what was it called? EOS?
Yeah, that one was the EOS Foundation.
Yeah, I was working for the EOS Foundation, and then they really shifted gears and changed direction, and so I decided that I wasn't going to stay after a few months, and they were okay with me continuing on. I was just volunteering on Telos, and they were okay with me doing that. And so when I left there, the Telos Network Works program had just started up, and so Leah and I developed a plan, worked with the Telos Foundation. We worked for a year doing Telos Works, and then I went to work for what's now the UX Network after about a year. It was just really awesome, though, because Telos really was the way that I found my love. We got married in February of this year, and we postponed our reception until summertime. But it was really awesome to have you guys there and like be a part of that origin story for us. And Telos love story.
It's a good one. Yeah, I mean, you guys did a lot, and it was all paid by Telos Works. All the work we did as on the Telos core developers was paid by that. It was actually a really fun time.
That's right.
Yeah, we really tried. I think, it was one thing we tried with Telos Works was to try to like raise the bar a bit on how we did proposals. Like we had measurable
ROIs and stuff, and
return, just all the things like these are the things we're going to do. This is this is the amount of time we're going to spend on this. This is what it's going to look like. And then at the end of every month, we would actually publish a report. These are the things we said we were going to do. This is what we did. This is what we did. And most of the time we were doing additional things because we would do ad hoc kind of stuff that came up as was necessary. I think it was really interesting time to be working on marketing at those very early days because, the network has grown and changed so much over the last 4 years.
That's actually kind of a great segue. Let's talk about that. Like how has the last year looked for Telos, right? We've attended the network as a whole. We've had people attending all kinds of events this year. We had Betty was at ETH Safari and said that was so much fun and that we should try and have a bigger representation there next year. That would be awesome. The Philippines Blockchain Week, I think that's either happening right now or just happened. It was, and we had, Feisty and a lot of the team there. Our team got to see each other in Consensus in Austin. That was actually the first time that almost all of our team had been together. So that was so much fun.
That was awesome. And there was so many people represented at Telos at Consensus. It was really awesome to meet so many people and feel like, these are who I've been working with all this time. Yeah. And that was pretty amazing. What else do we have? There was the World Blockchain Summit.
And then Decentral was right before Consensus too. We had that big the like stack that said Telos that looked like it was right behind the bull. How perfectly placed that was.
You've represented Telos at Davos and the World Economic Forum. Huge.
Yeah, that was a biggie.
Yeah, really interesting learning experience there to see kind of what people are talking about and where the standards are at in the industry and how much Telos has to offer above what people think blockchain's limitations are right now. That was an interesting experience.
Nowadays, start seeing people who know about Telos. So in the early day, year one and probably year two, it was nobody knows what Telos is. Have you heard about? Well, let me tell you about this. And have you heard the good news about Telos? Then around year three, there was a sort of a thing where I was always shocked if people knew about Telos, right? It's like I'm from Telos, and Telos is oh no, I know about you guys. You're lying to me. This year 4, it's like people just, oh yeah, of course we know about Telos. Yeah. Like it's just, they may not know everything, but it's on their radar as a chain that exists.
Yeah.
So year 5 is what I'm hoping about year 5 is going to be is that people just start randomly telling me about Telos, not knowing that I have anything to do with it.
I love it. I totally want that to happen.
Well, and I know that next year the plan is for the network, for us to even be represented in more places, right? Like we had this huge meetup kind of in Austin, and I think the goal for next year is to kind of just spread that out and like have people at more events rather than like a whole bunch of people at one.
So there's a lot of things that we could do, bigger conferences, not just one, but a number of them. We had gone to conferences before the pandemic. They were always small. They were, now we're doing so much more. But I think we might have sort of overshot it for what we should be doing in 2022 at Consensus. But I don't think we need to be major sponsors of things, but we should be there. And I'm hopeful that we're going to go back to Davos. We'll know soonish. There's some talk about opportunity. Well, we know that one of the things we're working with is going to get to speak there, and there might be some opportunities that are emerging for Erika or I to speak, not at Davos, not at WEF itself, but at some of the better surrounding things. So we'll see how that works out. No promises, but boy, it's really interesting to be there playing in the big leagues. And this year also, Rush went to COP27 and he represented Telos.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
he was representing
that's one ally we picked up in Davos that was just, he's so awesome and really loves everything that we stand for and, very much sees the vision, I think, and is an excellent advocate. He's the kind of person who can really go and talk to all kinds of people. He's got great connections and, I think having him, like I said, as an advocate is awesome. He's a really passionate guy. Yeah.
Not recently, of course, but when Telos was up at $1.30 or whatever, I had a number of people reach out to me privately and just say, Telos has changed my finances forever. I'm now out of debt or I'm now whatever. And I'm able to go to a better, and these were people all over the world. And they were probably talking about very different levels of money. But man, that's my favorite. Like that was my favorite tier. And I was like, you did it. You made the decision. You made had nothing to do with me, but I'm super happy for you. And it makes me feel great when people are making better lives. And I think we should all do that. I can't obviously broadcast that to people. Hey, so-and-so said, he's, he can afford better drugs now. So,
yeah, no, but that's true. I have similar stories in my life too, where people have said, thank you for introducing me to that. And it's changed my life. It's made my life so much better. And at the end of the day, that's the thing that matters the most to me is like really making the world a better place for other people and for myself, which it has in obviously, but it's a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling to be a part of something, especially when you look at what's going on in the world and in the world of crypto, and you just see so much that's wrong, and to just be, I feel so lucky to have been get to be a part of one that is doing really good things that are making a difference. And I feel really lucky to have found that one.
Well, you made that one. Like nobody, like even people who found Telos at some point then made Telos.
Yeah.
Right. And created the net. You find the network. No network is one person. You find it and then you create it. And that's one of the reasons why I, very often say, don't call me a founder because if one person that can't make a network, and all the people who came in have done so much, it never would have been there. So to me, I do feel like sometimes it's like, oh yeah, this is like this thing is so cool. I really like this. And I even slightly forget my own association with it for a millisecond and go, oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
Don't we want that? I mean, that's, and you know what, there's a bit of a disagreement going on right now in, the factions of within Telos, and not that we, these are just like different approaches, or people who all work hard and want Telos to do well and just have slightly different definitions of what that is. And they're people we've worked hard with. And I don't mind that at all, because I think it's actually shows that it's cool that we can have very open things that we disagree about, and everybody goes on doing their work, right? And everybody goes on, and Telos exists, and we can present different ideas, and the community actually votes. And there have been a number of things that that where I voted one way and others have voted a different way, and we really disagreed. Like they were almost knockdown, drag out type things. But they didn't, last, right?
Right, because people are passionate. We're all passionate about Telos and about what we've built, and it's a little bit like parenting. Sometimes your mom and dad don't always agree, but you find a way.
Look, Telos happened is a miracle. Like.
Sometimes, yeah.
Looking back at it, it's a miracle, right? Like when I made my first movie, it's like I didn't know just how hard it would be. I thought I knew, but it was way harder than that. And if I had known, I probably wouldn't, have done it. But I'm really glad I did.
Right.
And there are certain things that they're just like that. It was amazing. I knew, and this is going to be very contradictory, I knew that it was going to work. I knew 100% it was going to work. And I mean, I define being around 4 years later as proof positive that it worked. I knew it would work, but looking back, it's an absolute miracle that it happened. And it never has to happen again. Right. And I don't know if it could. I think it was just that moment that we had the right people. It was just the right time and the right people who got together, and had it come together in different ways, it would just be one of the billions of things, strewn across the road. But it's not. And I'm so proud that we're the ones who have figured out how to make it work and how to make, really truly grassroots thing grow.
We should probably explain a little bit about this anniversary. We celebrate Telos anniversary till Hanukkah. What is it? Telos Hanukkah?
Telos Hanukkah.
Telos Hanukkah. Yeah, the 12th to the 18th. So why do we do that, Douglas? Can you?
Sure. What we're celebrating is on the 12th was when the Telos Mainnet went live for the first time. And when that happens, there's a set amount of time that we picked for voters to get online, to get set up and get voting and vote for which block producers were going to be actually running the network. So when the network comes live, it's running itself, meaning you can't do anything. And until it gets to a certain block that you've set. And once that block has been set, I believe is 1 million, then block producers are able to come in and all the users have been using it and voting. Everything on the chain works, but it's being run by just basically, one or a few nodes, right? It's not a true decentralized blockchain. Once it signs over to the EOSIO contract, which is a core smart contract running running Telos, it's officially a decentralized chain, and
that
that's
was
what
the 18th.
that's what happened on the 18th.
Nice. Yeah. So that's why we celebrate for a week.
Yeah. Telosversary week.
Hey, but let's talk about GoodBlock. I mean, this was 4 years ago. It was a big transition time for GoodBlock as well, because we were like hyper focused on
We've never been
Telos.
hyper-focused. Because I'm part of it. I'm always interested in other stuff, but for us, we were hyper focused on.
Yeah.
Telos, and then we kind of like rotated, right? It really shifted to Draco's Keep once the network launched.
And
when we had guys, we had our art director, and we had a game producer, and who was James Davis, who was very involved in that, but he got to go back to it. But you had just come in, Erika. We had hired you during mid-launch, right?
Yeah. Well, so I came in 2 weeks after the official launch. It was like January 3rd, because I remember my first day, we had a holiday party. And Beth, I came in and did my first day paperwork stuff, and she's like, "Hey, I hope this isn't awkward, but do you want to come to our holiday party? It's your first day, but that's fine." Sure. Okay, cool.
Beth and I had worked together prior to her joining GoodBlock as its COO. And Erika was somebody who we worked with occasionally on video shoots. You were great, right? Erika was Erika. She was always Erika all along. Shoot after shoot, we were really impressed by you. So as we needed more help, I was talking to Beth. I was like, who would be great is Erika. And I'm like, I know she doesn't know anything about this, but we can teach her we can teach her anything, but we can't teach anybody else how to be Erika, right? Sure. And Beth's like, I've already been talking to her for 3 weeks. Proof that I was right. Look at you. Look at your personal and professional growth. A lot of people wouldn't say, hey, somebody who a couple of years ago was a PA and is now, organizing film shoots and stuff like that, and has a cosmetology degree, would be a good COO for a company and president of the board for a blockchain foundation. But you are.
We are.
You proved it. You're fantastic.
Well, I feel like I've had so much support coming into the network, and people are always super happy to answer questions and help each other out. I think that's one of the things that really makes it stand out. Really is there's always someone who's happy to help you out and answer your question, and I think that made such a huge difference for me.
There were people like that at the very beginning. Douglas, Jesse, people that I remember that were just like constantly helping other people, answering questions.
My measurement, my KPI, right? My yardstick of whether it was growing was, were we adding one new significant person every day? And you know what? It still is. I don't count it anymore. It's not all on my shoulders. I assume that there's a lot of people that we're bringing in I just don't have exposure to, but they're still coming to Telos, and they're still great people.
Yeah.
But for a long time, hey, I brought Erika to Telos, and we got you in Telos, and as other block producers. So I always not like I'm headhunting, but I just was like, this is how I'm gonna go out and do what I do, make videos, talk to people, get in these chats, do whatever. And what I want to do is make sure that every day somebody, on average at least, some new person is coming in, and if they're a good person, they're sticking around. Yeah. The coming in is not the hard part. It's the sticking around and making a contribution. By the way, it was never without tumult, right? There were some big moments where in the launch where some people were really upset. Some people tried to sink the ship. If not, there was some people just underperformed. Some people, like every group dynamic thing that you get ever, and people are seeing now, were also happening during the launch and have been happening through the entire existence of Telos. And I think they will continue.
I think that's just like a symptom of people coming together and working in groups that are coming from different places, right? I mean, it's kind of just decentralization at its finest. We had a whole episode, right, talking about the different group dynamics that are part of these decentralized groups. I do think that it's kind of a symptom of that. You have to have that, right? Without that, then things become stagnant or just centralized, right?
Right. It's a symptom, but it's also like an indicator, right? So when you have something that it happens because there's no boss, right? There's no boss that says, oh, you're, do this or you're fired. Or this is the way we're going to do it. There's no clear hierarchy. And so people are able to do things the way they want. And the joy for me of every time a decision doesn't go my way, I'm like, darn it. But with other words though, but I'm like, this is what I wanted. I wanted something where, I like it to go my way as much as possible, but sometimes it won't. And that's fine. And I specifically, there are a lot of people who are mad at me when we launched the Telos Foundation that I didn't run. Everyone thought I was going to run and be executive director. And I said, no, I'm not going to run and I'm not going to take that job. And there were people like confused. Are you leaving Telos? I'm like, no, I'm not leaving Telos. I'm not taking that job because if I'm on that job, then, well, first of all, it's a lot of work and I'm lazy. But the other reason was that in that job, on that board, right, everyone's going to look to me for everything. It's just going to be a continuation of this. But what it should be is a representation of all the stakeholders, right? I wanted to create a situation where there were a lot of openings, like for people to rise, right? And I felt if I take that role, there'll be one leader and a bunch of people below me. If I don't take that role, if I step aside from the Telos Foundation, then there'll be multiple leaders and that's only going to be good. And that's the exact situation that I wanted. It's the same situation we have now, which is sometimes frustrating for me because we can't always agree. And when we disagree, we still feel strongly about what we want to advocate for.
Yeah,
but for me, it's like, this is exactly what you asked for. I actually think it's a really good thing. I think it means people are passionate about it. They want it to work. They care. And there's no one person to turn to and say, oh, well, okay, what do we do now? Like that truly is, we're truly walking the walk.
I think that's a really important thing to note is that we are decentralized. And that is definitely the proof of that is that there are so many people in leadership in Telos who have their opinions and they're passionate about it and they've remained independent. And I think that's vitally important. I don't necessarily agree with how everything happens, but I also do because I want it to remain decentralized.
It's not just that they remained passionate, remained anything. It's that they remained.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I think that's really telling. I really think that's huge because when you have all these people who have differing opinions about how things should work and how, what's most important and what's vital and everyone is making their case and they've invested heavily time, energy, money, whatever it is, they've put into this network and they're building it and they feel strongly about it. So it's beautiful that they are actually like sticking around and like, I'm not letting go of this because we got to figure out a way to make this whole thing work. And I think over the last 4 years, that's what we've done. And I think it's awesome. Right. And, the conflicts are going to come, they're going to go. I don't think that that's a big deal. I think that's just the nature of it is. And we're trying something different. I mean,
not many.
Decentralized. We're so conditioned socially to this centralized hierarchy kind of way of thinking that it's very hard to kind of shift that unless you're an entrepreneur and you've been doing your own business and doing your own thing for a long time. It's very difficult for people to kind of get into that mindset of like, I can do what I want and you can do what you want. And if we all kind of have an idea that we want to do something together that is similar, then let's work on that. But at the end of the day, you're still you and I'm still me, and I get to decide if I'm going to be a part of it.
That is the sign of what this really should be and what we really were trying to create. And you don't have to leave. There's the political thought of voice or leave, voice or exit. Basically, if you don't have a voice, people will try to leave. If they can't, then it's a bad political system. And people can do either in Telos, but it's amazing that they lose battles and stick around and come back and try and do it better again. So I know that there are people who are ranging from upset to thrilled to just just inquisitive about what me leaving the Telos core developers means. But at the heart of it, it means it's a healthy enough, productive enough organization that it's not going to fall apart if I do, and then I can do other things. And I was no longer contributing there the way that I wanted to. And so it's so much better for me to spend time on things like dStor and stuff like that. But that's another sign. I didn't get kicked out. I didn't rage quit or anything. Like cool adult behavior in blockchain. Front page news.
What? So Douglas, talk to us a little bit about the new EVM apps on Telos. I think this is pretty exciting.
Yeah,
it's so exciting. I'm going to try and talk only a little bit about it, which is hard for me.
I believe in you.
So one I'm super excited about is Robinos right now, which is a prediction market, and they've really come together. I love what they did for the World Cup and their Mino NFTs. Those are cool.
It's so much fun to watch in the community. Like, oh, who's got their, who's guessing on this team on Robinos today, and it's fun to watch that engagement.
That is fun. And Teland and Teland Gold, came out and soon, will be another project like that. I guess we'll talk about that and maybe what's going to go happen in next year. But Broccoli came on, Omnidex sort of was born on Telos this year, and Zappy came in, and Omnidex now has lending, which maybe there'll be an alpha drop about that. The big GUI really sort of took NFTs to the next level for us. 100%. And I think that if you haven't seen his new crypto critters thing, they've got these roosters that are fully 3D modeled. They look great. People should check these things out. They're going for 45 Telos, and that the good ones are going to sell for a lot more. The Mochi's thing we're selling for thousands of dollars.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. In general, I mean, the NFT community has just exploded on Telos this year. I mean, definitely thanks, like you said, to GUI and the team there. I know Shelly Vaz is a huge part of that too. They've got just some awesome initiatives they've been tackling this year and into the next. I'm excited to see that group flourish.
Really hitting that hard and going to a lot of events. That is the one thing that we did do, and that's because we had GUI and he was great, and I was working with him on Telos Punks, which still will happen. And one from not 2022. We got a lot of things that GoodBlock itself is working on, but he's been great having him as a resource. And now we have a really good business development team in AJ and leading that. And now I think we're trying to get a DeFi person to do exactly what we had with GUI in the NFT role. And I think that's really cool. All this DeFi stuff's coming on now, super fun. And it's exciting. It's very exciting. So many more people are getting
brought
involved.
a lot of people to the ecosystem. I mean, and especially with the new staking there now, after TED P3 came out. I mean, we've just seen such a huge uptick in usage there. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much going on Telos. It's really exciting, and I think that it's one of those things where this kind of content where it's like happy birthday and oh my gosh, now there's something new. Like this is going to be out of date in no time because there's
Right.
constantly new stuff coming. You can always check out telos.net and the different social channels to see what is happening right now on Telos, and it's pretty exciting.
Well, I think that we next year, we'll record and everything, and then once we have an episode, I'm gonna grab the popcorn and watch this episode, and then hi, Doug, and then we'll watch the next year's episode right after it, right, the current year,
Right.
and just keep doing that. I think it'll be really interesting. Like they say, if you want to make God laugh, tell her your plans. Let me ask you, what's GoodBlock? Telos and GoodBlock. What are we doing for 2023? What's the plan, ladies?
Well, a big one for GoodBlock is dStor. And, we've been working on this for so long. And it's been really interesting, as we've brought different customers on, the things that we've learned and the things that we've had to adjust and change in order to really be able to accommodate different types of customers, and I think it's really been this beta alpha. It's been so slow and time consuming and frustrating, but also fantastic because it has made us build such a better product. And I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of what we've been doing. I'm proud of what we're building. We've been working on this update for months, and there are some parts of it that well, that's for another episode, but there's some exciting stuff coming, and I'm really looking forward. I know it's an announcement of an announcement, but it's not really, because dStor is out there and it's working and it's being used, and we're really getting close, and hopefully before the end of the year we'll have a new update, a new updated website, and a new user interface, and some really exciting things happening that and I'm super proud of and really excited to see coming for 2023 and what that means for us.
That's your baby because you're the head of product, right?
Yeah.
So I know from the outside that this long beta, that's usually a sign that things aren't going well. But in fact, on this product, it's a sign that things are going phenomenally well, because we're not rushing to meet any date. We're saying we want this thing to work. We want to fix people's problems. We want to see what features they need, because we found features like geofencing and things like that we never imagined that we were going to be able to add, because you can't put that on IPFS. So we found so much, and we did it because a product like dStor, every product has problems. Every software product has problems, and a product like dStor has to not have problems because of what it is, and it's storing people's their business data, their everything. And so we needed it to not screw up. If you have open, a wide range of users, which would have been great because then we would have had revenue. Once you have any problem, everyone hears about it, right? And so we were able to keep a close enough group of developers so that as there were frustrations, they came to us instead of people spamming it. We wanted to preserve the nascent reputation of dStor, and we've done that. And it's not because we don't want people to know about bad stuff that's happening on dStor. We don't want bad stuff to happen on dStor because we feel so much of a responsibility about people's stuff. And so to do that, we just are having the length of beta that we need. That's my thing on everything. It's going to take time. We don't know. We do this more to a checklist. That's how we launched. We launched Telos, coming back to the Telosversary. We launched that with the checklist. So much better than a date, right?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. When we came back from Austin, we were the three of us, Nathaniel and Douglas and I, were on a plane together. And as soon as we landed, I got some messages from someone who's a beta tester saying that they couldn't see any of their files. And we were like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So we all, like, as soon as we got off the plane, we deplaned and we parked ourselves at like one of the gates, and everybody's opening their laptops and we're like, what the hell's happening? And it turned out that it was something where the NFT platform had actually been downloading the files themselves and presenting it so that so it'd be faster. But that was what was broken, was their file and not dStor. And it was just this, it was a really funny memory to me, because we were like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? What are we doing? And it was a fun problem solving moment, and dStor was fine and nothing was wrong with it. So that was excellent. It was just,
it was a very sort of Silicon Valley kind of trope, where it's like the plane comes on and we're like, oh, what, oh no, what's going on?
As soon as we got service again, I was getting a bunch of messages. I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
And it was nice it wasn't us.
Yeah.
It wasn't us. Not it.
Yeah. So we finished up, got to an actual non-beta release of Decide Voter. And we may be doing some changes, some updates in time, but we don't really need to. It's kind of nice not to have to do that right now. And I think the next thing we would do would be really taking it and making it not just possible to participate, but easy and fun and everything.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, it's hard to like look too far beyond dStor right now, because even once we get this things really going and get this new update out there, it's still going to be like, now we're in a growing phase and we really need to expand, right? So I do see that as probably GoodBlock's big focus next year too.
Yeah, but at some point, and my intention before the end of the year is to hire a different CEO and COO and Erika.
What?
Hire a different. I want to fire Erika first. First thing I'm going to do. I want to hire a different team who is ideal, not at coming up with new ideas and birthing them and getting them, ready to, teach them how to walk, but in running an actual company and making sure that the right types of things are going on day to day. That's not the kind of person that I am as a leader, and it's not what makes me happy, and it's not what our team is optimized for. We're optimized for this sort of secret lab, creation of innovations, and I want to hire some really awesome people to run. In fact, I already have some mental candidates to run it. So my hope is 6 months after we've done this funding raise, that I'm out of there, in a good way, right? Which is exactly what I thought about the TCD, and it took 4 years. But we didn't have money then. We didn't have it was for me, the first 2 years on the TCD job were unpaid and many hours. And it's really hard to get somebody to replace you on a job like that. On dStor, there will be pay. We've set aside for proper executive pay, and so it'll be a lot easier. A lot easier to find people.
Sure.
Yeah. Exciting.
Draco's Keep. I would love to get Draco's Keep out there. I still love that game. I still think it would be
like it just was replayability was awesome over and over and over. You just wanted to keep going.
Yeah, and that was with the same 3 dragons or 4 dragons you could choose from.
It was
right, and you didn't own them or anything. And they couldn't level up.
All you could gameplay. That was nothing else, right? That was just gameplay.
Just play your game.
Yeah.
No deck setting, no anything. And I feel like if you had all those other elements, that thing would be insane. I think it would be just a massive, massive, powerful game, especially if you could then use your dragons and other things. So yeah. That'd be
really exciting.
That's going to be good. I'm hoping to do a little bit of travel. There's people in a lot of countries now where I think where Telos is going to be and GoodBlock are going to be it'd be great to be able to go and check out some of these projects in Africa or, like Green Earth Agro or some of these things where people are working on stuff and or Peru and for Teland, and just really kind of figure out what it's going on and really see it in more than just a Zoom meeting. I think that would be fun, and that's something that I would take as a sign of success that Telos is doing well. If I can do that.
I'm going to Mexico for the first time in 2023 for sharing personal travel goals.
Nice. Fun.
I'm going to go back to Europe.
Is that on the company calendar?
Not yet.
I will be working. I'm going to be there so long. I'll be working from there.
Yeah. It is so hard. So I feel at GoodBlock, we have an amazing team. Everyone's a star. And, and it's a smaller team that gets a lot done that a lot of bigger teams wouldn't be able to do. And things change a lot. But it does mean that when somebody's out, you feel it, right? And as much as like, I take all the time you want, get well, do, have this, or, it's important to get at vacations. At the same time, inside, it's like, oh my God, how will we live?
Yeah, that conversation definitely happened when Erika wasn't feeling too good one day. I was like, oh my God, Douglas, what are we going to do?
You'll be okay. You'll be okay, CJ. I don't take any weeks off, but I also don't act. But I just keep showing up, but not doing any work. All right. Well, wow. It's super fun taking a little trip down memory lane. And I just love it. This was a fun conversation. God, I love talking to you guys about this. This was great.
Same.
This was really great.
Yeah.
No market minute this time. And I think crypto BS of the week, I think was just us BSing around just now.
It's all in there.
Too good to lose.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you would like to learn more about the Web3 world, check us out wherever you listen to your podcasts or watch. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button icon. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for coming.